Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the Third Eagle of the Apocalypse and the co-prophet of these end times. And this is the first video I've made since moving out to Iowa. And as you can see, I am recording this beside the beautiful Cedar River. And I think you can see some kayakers or tubers floating down the river behind me. This is a beautiful location. It's mostly farmland. Not at all like the brooks and rivers and streams in upstate New York. However, I am enjoying it immensely out here. And I hope I can stay for quite a while and do many more videos like this and show you exactly what it looks like out here in Osage, Iowa. In any event, the title of this program is Melania Trump a secret agent of the deep state? And as you notice that many people are now betraying Donald Trump. People like Mad Dog Mattis, who was honored by Donald Trump to be a member of his cabinet. He has turned around and stabbed the president right in the back. Same way with Mitt Romney. As you may know, Donald Trump endorsed Mitt Romney for Senate. And of course, Mitt Romney has done the same and betrayed the president and said that he will not vote for him. He is a rhino, a Republican in name only, and he says he's going to vote for Joe Biden. Can you imagine that? But none of these are very significant. Many more YouTubers, I think, are coming down the river, and that's all right. That provides a good background. These people betraying Trump, they don't bother me. I never cared much for them anyway. But what if Melania Trump betrays the president? What if she asks him for a divorce and gives a lot of lurid details? This, I think, would be a blow to him personally as well as politically. Now, I want to read an article from, I think it was day before yesterday, in the Washington Post, from a woman who has written a tell-all type biography about Donald Trump and Melania Trump. And here is the review as was published in Fox News. Melania Trump's chief of staff and press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, slammed the false information and sources cited in a Washington Post article, which states the First Lady delayed moving to the White House after her husband was elected president to renegotiate her prenuptial agreement. Now, this you might just call as nasty girl talk, but it's very significant. And I think this is just the first shot. And they are warning, I believe, Melania to fulfill her obligations to the deep state, if in fact she is a secret agent. Let me continue with this article. Yet another book about Mrs. Trump with false information and sources, Grisham told Fox News. This book belongs in the fiction genre. That could be. Let's hope it is. When President Trump was first elected president, Melania and 10-year-old Barron Trump stayed behind in New York so as not to pull their son out of school in the middle of the academic year, according to the First Lady's office. But Washington Post reporter Mary Jordan writes in her forthcoming book, The Art of Her Deal, the untold story of Melania Trump, that Melania Trump delayed her move to the White House as leverage in renegotiating her prenup. Well, this is pretty mild stuff compared to what I think they are aiming at. They are hoping that Melania proves to be the same type of person as John Roberts, who was appointed to the Supreme Court and turned out not to be the conservative all of us had hoped for. In any event, what led me to think this may be possible were some murals by the deep state artist Leo Tanguma in the Denver International Airport. And I did quite a few videos on the airport and the satanic and sexual images included in those murals. And I got a lot of attention in the media because people like Anderson Cooper and Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel, who are also agents of the deep state, they pounced all over me. Anderson Cooper put me on his ridiculous, a record number of times, And we went back and forth. It was kind of comical. Even I have to admit it. But they took it very seriously because they do not want any artwork from the deep state to be exposed for what it is. They worship the phallus, for example. It's called sexual worship, I think, or something like that. I forget what it is. In any event, you may remember that Leo Tanguma in the murals did a painting of Barack Obama. Of course, he was hidden as a leopard. And we Christians know that Barack Obama is the leopard as found in Daniel chapter number 7. Now, how did Leo Tanguma know that Obama would be elected president? He painted these murals back in 1995, long before Trump or Obama came on the scene. Well, I think the deep state were grooming Barack Obama even back then to be president. And it's interesting that in this leopard, there are two cubs. Those would be the two daughters of Obama. And if you take a close-up of the tail on the leopard, the word voodoo is hidden in that tail. That is not accidental. Notice that this is all hidden. None of it is clear and forthright. And that's the way the deep state operates. They want to keep it all a mystery. Mainly it's for information for their insiders. But the mural I want to talk about on this program is the one that shows Donald Trump and Melania. Now, just about everybody can tell that the boy in this image with the large shock of hair and the signature red tie shows Donald Trump, even though he's depicted as a boy. Now, it's not surprising for Leo Tanguma or the rest of the deep state to predict that Donald Trump would one day be president, because he was, even in 1995, a very famous billionaire playboy. And they saw him as a good potential for a president. But how did they know about Melania? Melania didn't even come to this country until 1996. She was not famous. She was an obscure photographer's model. It's interesting, though, that she learned 8 languages. That sounds more like a deep state plant rather than a photographer's model. Being a model, was that her cover? Was that her cover to interest her in Donald Trump? And I should say for Donald Trump to be interested in her. Anyway, she came to this country in 1996 after, as I say, the mural was painted. And within 2 years, she had gotten herself introduced to Donald Trump. Of course, the way she describes it, it was all accidental. It was arranged by her manager, who was a friend of Donald Trump. And that may be, I don't know the real circumstances. I am suggesting that now the deep state want to call in their cards. This article in the Washington Post suggests that the reason Melania stayed away from the White House was because she was waiting for Barron Trump to complete his school year. Was it possible that she stayed back in New York because the deep state didn't know what to do yet? They were totally flabbergasted that Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton. I suspect that they did not know what to do. Here they had a deep state operative, Melania, but what should they do? Should they have her divorce Donald Trump at that time? I think it took them a while to decide that it would be correct, it would be to their advantage to have Melania move into the White House. And I believe that's what they did. I'm sure they advised her to do that, if in fact Melania is a deep state operative. And don't forget, none of this was known to Leo Tanguma. Why in the world did he paint Melania in that picture along with Donald Trump? And of course he hid the fact that it's Melania by painting her with with a costume that really, I don't believe has anything to do with Yugoslavia. And don't forget, Melania's father was a card-carrying communist. Yugoslavia at that time was a communist country. Now, he did have her baptized as a Catholic, but how is she operating now? As a Catholic or as a communist? Well, if you're a deep state operative. You're going to hide your real character and exploit your public character. And that's what I'm afraid of. And I'm not sure this is true. I hope and pray that Melania will stay a Catholic and not a communist. But if she is an operative, that would very much explain why this pressure is being put on her, just as they put pressure on John Roberts to change his outlook. Are they putting pressure on Melania to divorce Donald Trump just before the election? This would be a great blow to him, both personally and politically. So keep me informed, stay tuned, let's watch and see what happens. But don't be surprised if Donald Trump will be betrayed by even his most closest and intimate ally, and that would be his own wife, Melania Trump.